Hi, my name is Phebe and welcome to my channel. And also welcome to this new series titled Talking About My Dad. So the first episode is titled His Beginnings. Okay, I'll start. So my great grandfather, being my father's grandfather, had 12 sons and a daughter. And these 12 sons were involved in fighting inter-village wars. Okay, and in order to fight these wars, you need to go and equip yourself with juju. And of course, juju means diabolical powers. So they were feared in the land, because they were always winning wars, beating this person up and everything. But out of those 12 sons, 11 of them were the warriors. My grandfather refused to join them. I do not know what his reason was. So as usual, when the devil gives you a gift, it's going to collect something much higher in value than what he has given you. And the price for the juju was to take their life in mysterious ways. So some of them died by wild winds, some died by flooding, some they couldn't see their body to bury, so they all died in mysterious ways, thereby leaving my grandfather. And then all his 11 siblings, none of them died after having a seed, a male seed I mean. But one of them had a daughter, but as it's usual in the Igbo culture, the girl will get married into another family, and so she doesn't continue on with the lineage. 1 and 2, the woman who had a child for him was a concubine. He didn't marry. That's my grandfather's brother. They didn't marry the lady that had a child for him before he died. And in Igbo culture, we say Enyi. If you do not marry a lady and she has a child for you, the child is not, according to the tradition, not for you. The child may be biologically yours, but according to tradition, the child will be for a father. So that's how 11 sons just died without any seed to continue the family name. So it left a great responsibility on my grandfather to have children. My grandfather was a easygoing man, a palm wine tapper. He didn't like to fight anybody, so maybe that was how he was able to survive. So he went and got married to a lady of his choice, a beautiful lady actually. So they were living together until one day he went out, and before he would come back, the lady had packed her load and ran away. And she sent a missive from her family saying she was done with the marriage, she wasn't coming back. So that was when the clan people now came together to find out what happened and why his wife left him. And upon investigation and interrogation, they found out that she had refused for him to consummate the marriage, whatever her reason was. So the elders in the clan now they had a roundtable discussion and now decided on some things. They said first he was going to get married again, and second of all they will choose the wife for him, and third of all it must be an ugly woman. Yes, they felt the lady left because she was his choice, and maybe he wasn't wise enough to pick the right woman, so they were going to do it for him. And second of all, they felt because she was beautiful, that was why she didn't stay, so they were going to look for an ugly woman who would stay. And on that note, I will now move to my grandmother's story. So my grandmother, now she had, I'm going back to when she was younger. She had brothers who were married, some were not, but they were all, elder ones to her. And she was a fairly beautiful girl who had already started having suitors. But all of a sudden, a strange sickness struck her, and she couldn't do things that she used to do. She couldn't walk again, and she was just vomiting and stooling, and they will try to clean her up repeatedly until they got tired of cleaning her up. So they carried her and kept her outside, where it would be easier to clean her. And she was outside. They tried all the drugs they knew, tried all the herbs they knew. I don't think there were drugs then, but the herbs, the herbalists they knew, they tried everything they knew, and none of it was working. So they now decided that they now had a roundtable discussion again, and then decided that they are going to help their sister out of her misery. And what was their plan? They decided they were going to do mercy killing. They were going to mercifully kill her to ease her of her misery. So they, not knowing that even though she was sick, even though she was vomiting, even though she was purging, even though she couldn't walk, she could still hear. They were having this discussion just beside where she was, and they thought she wouldn't pay attention or something. Not knowing that she had everything they said. She knew the date they had fixed, so she was ready for them. And then they now went and they got the herbs on the day they had scheduled. They came, held her hands and held her leg and tried to force it into her mouth, but she was resisting. And they were shocked. Like, I didn't know this person that is sick and weak. Where did she get in the strength, and why is she resisting? She should take it as it's a drug. They must have thought that, oh, this is going to help you, but she was still refusing because she already knew their plans. So eventually they were able to force her to take some of it, and then but not so much, but some of it entered her mouth, and they felt in their mind, okay, this is enough, she's going to die now. Only what was meant for evil now turned to good. Apparently the herbs they gave to her in little quantity, it cures, but in large quantity, it's when it becomes a poison. So that little quantity, instead of killing her, went to start bringing her on the path of recovery. And that's how she started getting better and better, and then she stopped stooling, she stopped vomiting, she could getting her strength back. Later she could start walking, and that's how life returned back to normal for her. Only it had a side effect. The sickness gave her a side effect. Suitors now we are running away from her, because then they now said, because I don't know if people still do it now, but in the olden days, before you get married, you can meet your parents and say, okay, this is the lady I want to get married to. So the parent of the man will go making investigation about the family of the girl and about the girl herself. So if they find out something they do not like, they will go and warn their son, and they automatically the son will change his mind and marrying the lady. So anybody that wants to marry her will find out, oh, there was a period she was sick, incurable sickness, so nobody wanted to marry her. And then she was almost past her teenage years, and then she wasn't married yet. And according to those times, if you are getting to 18, 19, 20 and not married, you are being regarded as an old spinster. Yeah, it's not like today where 18-year-old is regarded as young to marry. Okay, so when I go back to my father's clan people who were looking for a wife for their ugly woman, actually. So they went searching, they wanted somebody who would stay. So they went searching all over the villages, searching everywhere, and eventually they found out about this girl in 2 villages over. And they now made inquiries and said, oh, she's like this, but this is the problem. She was sick for a period of time, incurable sickness. They said, that's what we want. At least she would stay. And she got cured from the sickness, whatever. So they got married to her. And that was how my grandfather was able to get married to a wife who would stay and who would allow him consummate the marriage, and they stay having children. So the first child was called Let Me Be Like Others, because my grandfather now was the only one left in his family, and he had lost all hope after his wife left of ever, having somebody to, as a companion, lost hope of having children, and then suddenly his story was turned around. So he called his first child Let Me Be Like Others, and he took care of his children like as if they were eggs. He gave them all what he could, as much as his power could carry him. Yes, and that's how my dad was born. I don't know about you, but even though they were idol worshippers, I do actually see the hand of God in it. Yes, they were idol worshippers, but remember, God makes the sun to shine on both the good and evil. I'm not saying they were evil, but they were not serving God in how they should, in the way they should. But God still had, mercy on my grandmother, and then He still did a supernatural way for them to meet. So that was how they had my dad, and my dad was the third born in his family, because they had 4 children. So my dad was the second to the last born. Yes. So in the next episode, I'm going to be talking about is growing up years. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned. Bye.